Actually, I support the Myitsone Dam project in Kachin State. I know it's going to be built by China. I know most of the electrical energy will be sent to China. And I know that many people will be forced out of their homes. But the positives outweigh the negatives. We either want Myanmar to modernize or we do not. Let me explain this to you. Hello everyone, it's Asian Anthony, and in this video, the Myitsone Dam project in Kachin State. Now, in Kachin State, Myanmar, which is a province in the north of Myanmar that shares a border with China, there is a hydropower mega project called the Myitsone Dam. This is a Chinese-backed mega project that will be producing a lot of much needed electricity for both countries. The dam requires a massive reservoir of water, and that reservoir of water will be like the size of New Jersey when it's filled. And China is going to build this mega project on a very important river system in Myanmar. Some might even call it culturally sacred. Now, this mega project started in about 2010 or 2011, but it was paused because the people of Kachin State began to protest. And they were right to protest because there's a lot of reasons to protest. So that's what I'm going to focus on right now. Let's talk about the negatives of this project. So there's a lot of claims. Okay, I want to dispel many of those claims. The first claim is that China will get the energy. Well, the Myitsone Dam will generate 6,000 megawatts of energy. And China is going to get 90% of that. Myanmar is going to get 10% of that. But 10% of 6,000 is 600 megawatts. This is enough power to generate electricity for hundreds of thousands of houses. And this is electricity that Myanmar would not have without this dam. So instead of focusing on the 90% China gets, focus more on what Myanmar gets, which is still a big positive. And also remember, the 90% that China's getting, they are paying for that. This is not free electricity for them, even after they build it. Let's talk about another concern. What happens if the dam breaks? Well, if the dam breaks, it would be a catastrophe for Kachin State. Bye-bye Kachin State, no more Kachin State. This would split Myanmar in half. But that never happens. There has been 33,000 dams built since the year 1940, and 0.003 of them have failed. And none of them have failed that were built in the 21st century. So I think only 246 failures of dams worldwide, and the dams that do fail or have failed were built long before modern engineering. So it's just not realistic to think it's going to fail. You have a better chance of getting hit by lightning and winning the lottery on the same day. Let's talk about another concern. What if an earthquake hits the area? Because this dam is being built in a very earthquake-prone area. But this is not a concern for modern engineering. Thanks to Japan, thanks to countries like Chile, we have been building dams on earthquake-prone areas for decades now. With modern engineering, this is not an issue. Nothing to think about. Okay. But here are some things we should be thinking about. The first one is the Irrawaddy River. Okay, the Irrawaddy ecosystem is the most important in Myanmar. It's not even close. And will this dam hurt the ecosystem in the Irrawaddy? Yes, it will. And this is mostly because of the sediment in the Irrawaddy River. Now, the Irrawaddy River transfers sediment all throughout Myanmar, and it does this for lots of purposes. Now, the main purposes is that it creates fertile soil for a lot of the farmers in the area. But there's also many other benefits like protecting against coastal erosion, forming banks in the river, etc., etc. But once again, modern engineering has reduced its impact. There's many different sediment management techniques you can do to lessen this impact. For example, you can just make sediment tunnels for the sediment to pass through the dam. You can also They also have something called a flushing technique, which they will open the gates of the dam momentarily or for just a few moments just to let the sediment out. Now, these techniques will only reduce the impact, okay? It won't cure the problem, but the Irrawaddy is strong, and this will not cause great harm to the Irrawaddy, especially more harm that's already been caused. Now, let's talk about the most serious issue. People will be forced out of their homes. And this is real, this is unavoidable. But we have to realize a few things. First, think about it like this. All mega projects around the world in every country involve people having to move. That's just part of modernization. But a lot of people who will be moving will be working for this project, which I will talk about later. All of these people will be compensated in some way. Now, the compensation won't be enough. Okay, the government is just not going to pay you enough money, and especially for people who are going to lose their farmland. But to be 100% honest with you, there is really no way around that. There will be a lot of increased economic activity, and a lot of people are going to be better off with their forced movement than they were before. But unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. So let's talk about the benefits. Okay, now there are 6 benefits I want to highlight, but there are many more. The first benefit is China will be using their expertise to train people from Myanmar to build this mega project. Now, this still will be led by Chinese engineers, but these Chinese engineers will be training other engineers. Now, this is the type of education that you cannot pay for. It's far more valuable than sending thousands of kids to university. This is hands-on knowledge, and we'll be able to build more mega projects after China shows us how to build this mega project. This is how it works in most countries. Another one is Myanmar will have a new source of renewable energy. Okay, that is a big one. Okay, another benefit: China will be paying for this electricity. Okay, this is not something that's not going to be profitable for Myanmar. Okay, there's another benefit. Eventually, full ownership will go to the people of Myanmar, and probably the biggest benefit is the increased economic activity, corporate income tax, employee income tax, royalties paid by China, taxes collected just in general around the economic activity here, the foreign investment, the increased transport services, and many other things. Just to give you, just to kind of put some numbers to this, there's going to be about 15,000 to 20,000 people displaced. But there's about 15,000 jobs that will be available in the immediate future for the next 8 years, okay? And a lot of these jobs, or all of these jobs, will be middle-class jobs, much better quality jobs than a lot of the low skill or farm labor that we have been seeing, okay, in that area before. Now, I say all that to say this: you either want Myanmar to modernize or you don't. This is the cost of modernization. Some people are not going to like it. Some people are going to lose. Some people are going to have to move. But the country needs to move forward. The benefits outweigh the negatives.